Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this month's edition of the Open Export Series. I'm particularly excited. We're excited to have you, and I hope you are ready for 2 hours of learning, of networking, of meeting new people, and also getting insight on how to push your export journey to the next level. My name is Individu Anna Mambula, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And for this, the theme of this month, Open Export Series, will be looking at financing your export journey, assessing funds, and managing risks. And but before we go straight into today's session, I would like to run you through our agenda. We'll start with an introduction, and we'll have someone come in to take you about what AS is. I understand that a couple of persons are already familiar with what we do here at AFC, but some people are new. So I'd like to take them about what AFC is all about, what our programs are, what we do, how you stand to gain from being part of our network or our community. And we'll also get to hear some of our participants today to share about their export story, that their experience when it comes to exporting. And then we'll go to the meat of today's session. This is particularly like where you need to have your pen, your jotters, your anything that you can use to jot down insights for today's session. Would have our facilitator come in. And also don't forget to note down your questions. Would have the opportunity where our facilitator for today would answer questions. So you can drop it in the chat box or you can write it down and you'd have the opportunity to unmute your mic and ask your question. Then we'll round up today's session with our membership drive for those who by the end of today's session, we'll be joining our community and then we'll close up with next steps and closing remarks. So just like I've introduced myself, my name again is Individual Anna Mambula, Communications Officer here at AFC. Would love to know you, would love to hear you, would love to know who you are, would love to know what country you're joining us from, and also your agribusiness. So using the format as you can see on your screen, introduce your name, your country, your agribusiness. Feel free to connect with like-minded minds. I'm going to the chat box to give a special shout out to those who would be dropping in their names. You can never tell who you would meet. You might meet somebody who is within your same value chain, or somebody who is in the same country that you are, or the same province or state. So do well to not miss this opportunity to meet other persons like you here within the space. And also, I'm particularly excited about this particular pulse check, like how what emoji actually expresses how you are feeling at the moment. As you can see, I am all smiley and excited because I'm actually looking forward to today's session. There's a lot of learning and unlearning that would be happening. So I am excited. So let's as you're introducing yourself, let's have you also drop in the emoji that describes how you feel right now. So I'm going to go to the chat session. I can already see somebody from Nigeria who is sharing where they are from. I'm seeing Dayo Akin Dutere. He's from Lagos, Nigeria, and he's looking forward to great learning and networking. Amazing, Dayo. I'm seeing Abdul Rashid Jibril. He's from Sabo, Kaduna State. I love how Abdul Rashid wrote the states. That for those who in our countries we use states, some of us we use provinces. So here, Abdul Rashid said he's from Kaduna State, Nigeria. I'm seeing somebody all the way from South Africa. Amazing. That's Rabilani Nimamilwe. I hope I pronounced the name right. If I did not, apologies. I'm seeing a lot. There's Charity from Ghana. Who is saying CEO Agro Solutions. I'm seeing another person from Lagos, Nigeria. Zinkeng Achingele from Cameroon. I'm somebody from South Africa again. Amazing. So let's keep the introduction coming. And the pulse check. I'm seeing people already reacting. I'm getting thumbs up. I'm seeing love emojis. Thank you so much. Let's keep the excitement. I'm seeing Claudette from Cameroon and Jefferson from Canada. Amazing. It's amazing to have everybody here. So we're moving on and just keep, as more people keep coming, just keep introducing yourself, networking and meeting people. And also I would have a colleague come up on the virtual stage because it's a virtual session to tell us what AFC is about. So over to you, Gloria, please.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are joining us from. I doubt there's anyone that is in the morning session. I hope you can all hear me. Okay. My name is Chimendu Praise Basi, and I work as a program officer at African Food Change Movement. So just a little bit about what we do at African Food Change Makers, because I'm sure that everyone here is ready and excited to listen to the speaker of today's session, so I won't take much of our time. So African Food Change Makers is a non-for-profit organization, and we are committed to nourishing Africa and changing global narratives. So in African Food Change Makers, we believe that small and medium-sized enterprises are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. These enterprises are driven by visionary, dynamic, innovative entrepreneurs who operate as primary producers, aggregators, processors, distributors, financiers, and technology providers, name it, cooks, consultants. All of these people, we call them change makers. However, these change makers, as we often call them, are faced with the devastating impact of climate change, global and local risks and shocks, and macroeconomic challenges. So what do? We help these people to provide them support in terms of funding opportunities, training, visibilities, market linkages, and a community of support. Why do we do this? We do this so that they can successfully scale their businesses. So through African Food Change Makers Hub, we enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that does not just nourish Africa, but the world at large. How do we do this? We do this in four major ways. One is through our community. Two is by providing them with data and opportunities. Three is through visibilities. And the fourth one is through learning and trainings. So our community, we have a community of change makers where we have over 8,000 members as part of our communities. We share information in those communities. And they also have access to a place called Marketplace where they can display their products to the world, and everybody can come on the hub, the marketplace, and see their products and even directly reach out to them to buy those products. Then in terms of data and opportunities, we share opportunities that provides information in different aspects in the food ecosystem. Then opportunities around funding opportunities, and many of our members are also here on this call who have benefited from one of the opportunities that we've shared and the likes. Then for visibilities, we do it through the different programs that we run at African Food Change Makers, where we showcase what our entrepreneurs do in the food ecosystem, as well as recognize that they are doing exceptionally well in the food ecosystem. Then for learning and training, you get to hear that as we proceed. Then our vision in African Food Change Makers is to ensure that 1 million successful and sustainable African businesses are transforming the food ecosystem, and they are also recognized and respected across the globe. Then our mission in African Food Change Makers is to enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that feed Africa and the world by providing them with training, funding opportunities, exposure, trade linkages, and fostering a vibrant community of change makers. Then down to our programs at African Food Change Makers, where we host our training, our learning and training under the opportunities that we offer at African Food Change Makers. We have various programs in African Food Change Makers, ranging from the climate-related programs to the women or gender-focused program to the export program. So for the climate program, we have it in form of the BRACE program, which is an acronym for Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. It is a 6-week capacity building program. And the aim of this program is to help agri-SMEs understand how their businesses are being affected by climate change. And we don't just stop there, we go ahead to help them develop different climate smart practices that they can adopt in their business to help their business withstand the shocks that comes with climate change. So we are currently on the last batch of this program, and I will encourage every one of you to look out for this program next year or in the coming years, or any of our programs, so that you can be one of our beneficiaries. And yeah, if you're a BRACE participant on this call, you can just type hi, I'm a BRACE participant. And then to our second program, the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship, we call it LAF for short. LAF, unlike the BRACE program, is women focused. The BRACE program accommodates both male and female, and is a 6 weeks program, while the LAF program is a 6-month program that admits high-level women who are doing exceptionally well in the food ecosystem, but they are not being recognized. So the aim of the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship is to showcase the work that women are doing in the world. Because when you want to talk about agriculture, giving position, how many times have you ever heard that a woman is the Minister of Agriculture? We barely hear that. And when they are making policies, decisions in the high places that concerns agriculture, you barely see women on that stage. So with the LAF program, we are trying to showcase that women are doing exceptionally well in the food system, but they are not being recognized. So we are giving them that platform to showcase the exceptional things that they are doing in the food ecosystem, and to create awareness about the work that women are actually doing in the food ecosystem. Then for our third program, the Scaling Exports program. The Scaling Exports program aims to build the capacity of agri-SMEs who want to have their products on the global shelf. And these people are also, this program is also not gender focused. It's both for male and female, but African based. So if you have a product in the food system, any agri product, and you want it to go beyond the shores of Nigeria, the Scaling Exports program is a program for you. So it teaches you different aspects of the program, where you even get to know the certifications that are required when you want to export, help you to get finances as it relates to export, teaches you a lot of things, and I'm very sure that you don't want to miss out on this. Also, the most important thing is that the Open Export Series program is an initiative of the Scaling Export program. So I hope as you are here, get your book, get your pen, and be ready to jot down a lot of insights that will be coming out of the mouth of our speaker. And then the last but not the least is our Changing Narrative initiative. So from time to time, we partner with content creators, chefs, cooks, and different stakeholders in the food and creative industries. We partner with these people to help us tell compelling stories about African food, and also promote the African heritage that we have. So when you think about the narrative that other continents have about Africa, they see African as a hungry child. They don't think we can feed ourselves. And that's why most times when they are looking for malnourished children adverts to make, they pick a Black child because they believe that we are hungry. With this initiative, we are trying to change that narrative that Africa is not a hungry child. We can feed ourselves, we can also feed the world in general. And that is what we are trying to do with the Changing Narrative initiative. Thank you very much for listening to me, and over to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Gloria Praise. This is a summary of the many amazing things we do here at AFC. You can get to know much more about us by visiting our website at afchub.org. afchub.org. If you just go there, you'll see a lot more, and then more detailed description of all the programs and how you can join. That's what they are open. Most of them are not open by now. So I think we're closer for the year, but we'll have them running next year. So you can also follow us online on social media so that you can stay up to date when we have any new programs or when our existing programs that we open for applications. So we'd love to hear your export story. So this particular session is where we get to have participants share their own experience. You can drop it in the chat box for those who would want to do that, but would prefer if you just use the raise hand feature here on Zoom so that you indicate you would want to speak and share your export story. Because have you started exporting? If yes, how has been your experience with exporting? And if no, what is hindering you? So it doesn't have to be you just celebrating your wins, or yes, I started exporting, no, I haven't, and then you shoot back. We've seen in previous series of the open export series where we have someone come up and say, okay, this has been my challenge. And there's somebody who has started exporting and has been able to find a solution to that challenge. And they network, they meet up, and they share, they pick each other's brain, and by the time you know it, that particular person has found a solution to their problem. So if you don't have to have started exporting for you to want to share, what are the challenges you have faced? Even for those who are exporting, they might have experienced some challenges, and some people here too have experienced wins. Would I want to hear them all? Your wins, your challenges. If you haven't, what is hindering you, and then what are the steps you are probably taking now? There are some that have not started because of some reasons. So what are the reasons that is holding you back from starting your export journey and taking your amazing product by to the other parts of the continent? So I'll be at the chat box, but anyone who would want to drop off why they share, rather, why they've not started their export journey, or if they have started, we are open to hearing and learning from you actually. And then while I'm doing that, I'm seeing that we have a couple of our brief participants here. Shout out to you, and hope you've learned a lot for those who have done with the program, and for those who are still in the program, you are in for a lot of learnings and insights. So I'm here waiting for the first person, the first bold person that would be raising up their hands or typing in the chat box. Okay, so I can see our first person in the chat, Bukola saying, I'm new to exporting and I want to learn how to properly, apologies, how to do it properly and avoid mistakes. Amazing. Certainly you would learn a lot from all us. And then I think I would also suggest that you watch previous sessions of the Open Export series so that you have a more holistic look at the concept of exporting, challenges, and all the learnings you can pick from all our sessions. So today you'd learn, but I would advise that you also watch the previous series so that you can catch up with all the learnings we have been going through so far. So I am still waiting one more person to drop. Are we, I think most of us are typing, so I'll just wait with you. Okay, I've seen one person. Okay, two more persons. Zinkek is saying, I'm ready to share my experience about why we haven't started exporting. So I think if you want to share your experience, Zinkek, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Apologies if I'm not. You can just use the raise hand feature there so that you can speak and share the experience with us. But then while I'm waiting for you to do that, I see Oluwatomi is saying, Olorufemi is saying, I've started exporting yet. Okay, I haven't started exporting yet because I haven't started my business officially, but I would like to start planning for the requirements for exportation 9. Olasubo, I hope I called that right. Is okay, logistics cost is the issue. And then Abdulrahman here saying that at Lala Multi-Concept, we're already producing in Kaduna State at the moment, but we're still processing in a very little quantity. So I think that's why he has not started processing yet. Amazing. So I think I would unmute, please can we unmute Nikek so he can share why he has not started exporting, or share his export story with us, please, and I'm seeing Hadiza here saying I have not started because I don't have certificates and I don't know how to get customers that are very trustworthy, I think, or that's what she's trying to say there. Yeah, so thank you to everyone who has been sharing. I think hi Zimpek, you can start, you can, I've unmuted you so you can speak and share your export experience, and then maybe start with your name so that we learn how to pronounce it going forward.
Hi everyone. I Can you guys get me?
Thank you, Nat.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening to AFC change. I'm a brace participant of the last program that got passed. I've been really been into the program. I really appreciate what is going on and what the African food change is trying to do to our industry in Africa. We are a cooperative of young farmers based in Cameroon, and with the challenges we are facing concerning the food sector, like what you just said, is like the whites have decided that we must beg for food all the time, that they are the ones that have to feed us, and we cultivate and we cannot sell. The problem of exportation, just like you said, we are into production of seeds and even improve varieties of seeds. That is cassava. We have maize that we produce, and equally we are into livestock. So I gained a lot of experience from the brace program, that we had to even re-strategize our grazing system and our livestock system and even the cropping system. They got learn a lot of climate smart agriculture during the program itself. So the issue of exportation to us, the first thing is the market, because we don't have a good market. Even if you have the market, the problem of license to carry out exportation is a big problem also. And then now, given that we are just a cooperative registered under the OHADA business law, is like you have to follow up some administrative bottlenecks to have your goods being satisfied and being carried out or being shipped to different nations before they are being sold. So that is the first issue. They have issue of no market, but there is a market, but the potential buyers, we are not connected to them. We are not connected directly to the buyers, and we are not also connected to have the necessary documents that permit us to do uh, exportation of our goods and products that we produce. So that is just part of our challenges as of now.
Thank you so much, Zimpek, for sharing. And well done with the job you're doing. So I'll be going on to the next what other persons have shared why they haven't started. I'm seeing Chidima saying, he said, I haven't started exporting yet, although I'm a food business owner, and I would love to learn the interfaces and how to navigate through. And then Olajumoke saying we've already started exporting and also we registered with some logistics companies like DHL. However, we've been having challenges on cargo shipping as we experience so much delay, and this is affecting our customer relationship. Hearing is I've not started exporting from Africa, but I've exported to US, Africa, from Africa, and imported. I've seen a lot of documentation, don't have the knowledge and documentation necessary, don't have the knowledge and documentations and markets. I haven't started exporting and I don't even know where to start from, honestly. I particularly love your honesty, Harry. So I think I'm to everyone who doesn't have a knowledge of export, I think you should be on the particularly for our scaling export series, hopefully next year. You have a lot to learn from. So I've never exported before, I've never exported that. Basically, documentation and knowledge is what I can pick from today's. I think in some series we see people saying, "Oh, it's not this series is knowledge." So before we have our come up, I think we need to not in anymore. Thank you. So for those who are talking about certifications and knowledge, while you wait for our open export series coming up next year, I think you should go back and watch all our open export series just years. I think all the way from last year. That get a lot of knowledge about exporting, about the knowledge education for you to start your export journey. So one who has shared their this, I will be moving on to the next segment of today's session. Okay, so and then those who have said that they have knowledge, I hope we have our pen, our jotters, and notepad, because this is also where you can get a bit of knowledge on exportation. So as facilitator today, Mr. Ivy Oladipupo. He is an award-winning instructor at the intersection of finance, education, storytelling, and known for helping Africans build wealth and inspiring children to love learning. At 18 years, he became the youngest journalist at the Genevieve magazine before leading a digital transformation at Daystar, growing its online audience from 20,000 to over 500,000 and winning the Alda Consulting Award for Excellence. He's a Harvard certified expert in online learning strategy, certified financial education instructor, and a certified software product management from the Product Home USA. He's the co-founder and CEO of AfriLearn, Nigeria's most loved AI-powered K-12 learning and school management platform that is now serving over 3 million students, teachers, and schools across Africa and the UK. He also co-founded Bloom, a fintech platform making cross-border payments and remittance simpler, faster, and more affordable for Africans. He has earned global recognition from UNICEF, Microsoft, and the US Chamber of Commerce. He's also the author of the Life Ready Child and has been named among Africa's 35 under 35 change makers. Isaac has been featured on Forbes, Global Citizen, Tech Cable, and he has helped over 1 million Africans achieve, and he aims to help over 1 million Africans achieve financial freedom by 2030. Before we bring Mr. Isaac on stage, I would love to see all the emojis, the claps, the reactions, welcoming him. And I hope another reminder, you have your notes, your pen, your notepad. Thank you so much, Margaret. I'm seeing the clap coming. To pick up all the insights you'll be learning from today's session from Mr. Ivy, and also jot down your questions. Don't forget that. It's a pleasure to have you today with us, Mr. Ivy. We look forward to learning from you, and thank you so much for taking our time to join us today. Over to you, sir.
Hi, Hannah. What a humbling introduction. Thank you very much, and a huge well done to yourself and the entire team. It's such a privilege to be here today. I'm super excited to be here for many reasons, actually, many reasons. First, the number one reason is in Nigeria, I'm one of the if there was an award, I'm sure I'll be one of the top 1% when it comes to food lovers. So I love food. And to be among change makers in that space, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But on a serious note, very, very much respect to what we all do here. Of course, without you guys, Nigeria, Africa, um, would be struggling a lot when it comes to feeding ourselves. So well done on the incredible work you do. And of course, I am personally also looking forward to this session. Um, am I able to share my screen? Yeah. So before we get into the session, I also want to say a huge thank you to the leadership of this amazing organization, and of course, the founder as well, Mrs. Ndidi Nwuneli, who is so someone also that I happen to really, really regard. Been privileged to do one or two things together. So this afternoon we'll go straight up into the session. Let me share my screen. Okay, cool. And then afterward, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. Of course, my name is Isaac, and today we'll be sharing, of course, it's going to be a very engaging session. I'm not one to, I don't believe in a one-way conversation. I think the best conversations are usually two ways. So we are going to be chatting. It's going to be very relatable. And like I said, there will be the opportunity to ask questions afterward, right? Um, but for starters, really, why are we even here today? Of course, I was very glad to hear some of the stories in-house, and also quite saddened to also hear some of the stories as well in terms of people um who are not able to export and all of those things. There are challenges from sourcing products, to raising finance, to compliance, different challenges really. But what has been established also about challenges is that in life, really, you never have a change maker, because I know that all of us here are change makers. You never have a change maker who is not challenged, right? It is in overcoming challenges that true makers are actually birthed, right? So this afternoon, my goal here really is very simple. In as much as I'm very passionate about what we do, it will be my incredible privilege that after this very short session, it's going to be short, it's going to be concise, but it's going to be mindset shifting. It's going to be life changing, right? That after this session, we not only get the knowledge, but we are also inspired, irrespective of the current stage or level that you are at in this value chain, in this business, that you're able to go out there, get funding because of the new knowledge that you have today, and be able to move your business to greater heights. All right. Now, of course, on a yearly basis, Nigeria currently loses over $10 billion, over $10 billion for one reason. Not because we don't have the goods, not because we don't have produce, right? Of course, there are specific challenges that relate to that, but today is not the day to talk about that. But on a yearly basis, Nigeria currently loses over $10 billion simply because SMEs can't access funds to export their produce, right? Or to process their produce. We'll get into all of that. So that is not small money, right? And the reason why this is even painful is simply because most of the things we produce, it is one thing to produce something that people do not want. It's another thing to produce something that the world are begging for, but you just can't get it across to them simply because you lack funding. So because of this menace, every year we're losing over $10 billion in potential exports earnings, simply because our SMEs, our businesses, exporters, people like yourselves, right, can't finance their way to the global market, right? And this is a statistic actually by Nexim. Meanwhile, countries across Europe, countries across Asia, countries across America, and even beyond, they are not only in need of what we are selling or what we produce. They are literally begging. I'm in the UK at the moment, so I know what I'm talking about. I know how much this product costs, right? I will reveal most of those things today. So they are literally begging for what we grow, right? Cashew, from cashew to cocoa to hibiscus to ginger, right? This is a multi-billion-dollar demand, right? But the question is, will we keep losing to this menace, or are we going to rise up to the challenge? It's time to turn the tide, and we'll see how we'll do that today. All right. And this brings me to a story I recently heard. The story of a cashew farmer in Kogi State. Very, very interesting and also sad story. It produces over 50 tons on a yearly basis, of cashew, right? But it sells for about 500K per ton as at that time. I don't know how much it sells now, right? But abroad, imagine selling 1 ton for 500,000 naira, right? And meanwhile abroad, the same cashew sells for 1.9 million naira, that's about 1,500 thereabouts. That's almost 4 times the profits, right? So buyers abroad are ready. But simply because this guy cannot access the funding to move from point A of production to point B, he's losing billions on a yearly basis. Over the years, it's lost billions, right? Simply because he lacks financing for things like packaging, for things like certification, for things like shipping. And those are part of the pain point I've also heard here today. He's literally losing billions in potential earnings over the years. And that's the painful story of many people, many, you know, um, food chain makers across Nigeria and across Africa, which is a very painful reality. Now, what are the real costs of exporting, really? This is where many Nigerians miss it. Exporting isn't about finding a buyer abroad, or finding Oyinbos that will buy your markets alone. It's way beyond that, you know. Of course, for some of us, we may think that that is hard to do as well. But trust me, there are people. In fact, I was still speaking to a woman recently in Scotland. She's looking for people to help her get goods across through a particular port called Grindmouth in Scotland. We're currently looking for people in that particular port that we can send our products through so that she can get our products uh, um, a bit cheaper through Grindmouth, since Grindmouth is close to Scotland, as opposed to getting it across from London and then transporting it down to Scotland from London, right? So the opportunities are there. That's my point, right? People are there. They are buyers, there are retailers in the UK who are looking for Nigerian products in mass, a lot of them, right? So that's quite an easy part. The real challenge is money, funding, finance, right? Why? Because you need money not just to get the products, but you need money for the different stage of this value chain, right? You need money for production, you need money for packaging at international standard. Of course, we all know that if you are taking a product out of Nigeria, the way you package it to a large extent is different from the way you would package it if you are selling within Nigeria, right? So there is the packaging, there is international shipping standards, there is the compliance document, and even when all is done, you must manage risks as well. There's risk management from delayed payments to currency swings. Today Naira is at 1,500 Naira. I mean, today dollar is at 1,500 Naira. Tomorrow is at 1,200 Naira. Next tomorrow it can be almost 1,800, so those swings, especially in times of inflation and economic challenges, right? Exporting is simply a financial journey, right? And if you solve the money side, you have solved a huge part of the process. So essentially, the real costs is beyond just finding buyers. The costs cut across different stages that you have to go through, from production to packaging to shipping, and that's why this is very, very important. Now, let's take a product for example, a cashew, for example, which is one of the most in-demand products right now. Let's do a quick math. So, 1 ton of cashew is around $1,200, a bit higher, but within that range. If you export 100 tons, you know, that will be $120,000. That's 180 million naira. Now, the global cashew market is currently worth over 7.5 billion US dollars. 7.5 billion US dollars, right? And that is valid information from ITC, right? Now, at the moment, Nigeria contributes less than 10%. What does that mean? It means in the global markets, global cashew markets, this is the demand on a yearly basis. People want to buy cashew worth $7.5 billion. But Nigeria is only able to take less than 10%, only able to supply less than 10% of that demand, despite the fact that we are one of the countries that should be dominating that space, right? Why? It still boils back to funding, it still boils back to finances. Now, um, and this is despite the fact that we are even one of the largest producers of this particular stuff. So do you see the opportunities that are here? There are billions on the table. There are billions looking for us, in these particular markets. So it's not the time to start begging. It's the time to start structuring in the right way, structuring our finances the right way, looking for the best places to get funding so we can tap into these markets and begin to make a difference. And the only thing standing our way, between here and where we need to be is creativity around funding, around compliance, and getting to become a lot bigger, than we are currently playing in that particular space. Now, so where's the money? How do we solve this money problem? There are a couple of ways, and I've tried to list not just one, not just two, but quite a number of them, right? Now, some of these platforms, are readily disposing money as we speak. Some of them also are seasonal in terms of, okay, they have times when they actually disperse funds. So your job here after this session, really, now that you have this information and you're going to be living here with all this information, is to take note of each of these platforms, each of these organizations, and put together a powerful, very clear, irresistible plan about your products, what you're exporting, how you export. Let people see the finances, let people see that it makes sense. Do the numbers, especially the same way I just did. You can see how I did the cashew here, right? 1 ton of cashew is around $1,200, right? 100 tons is what? $120,000. The global market currently sits at 7.5 billion. Nigeria is currently doing less than 10%. What does that mean? It means that as long as you're able to do your math well, there is huge opportunity for you here, for anybody really, that is able to go in there and do things not just the way it's currently being done, but find a way to do yours uniquely and excellently. Good. Now, so where's the money? There are a couple of platforms that would offer you funding, and that's why I started by saying put a solid plan together, right? None of these guys, in as much as the money is there, none of these guys will give you the funding if your plans do not show them that you will not only make money, but you also make profits, right? But if you're able to sit down and craft a profitable plan, something that makes sense on paper, that is real, that is verifiable, right? People are willing to give you money. I like to say it because it has been my own reality that, see, there is more money looking for great ideas than there actually are great ideas out there. I'll say it again. We like to think that in particular in Nigeria, we like to think that, oh, there is no money, the economy is poor, Nigeria is poor. I dare say that Nigeria is not poor. Far from it. Nigeria is one of the most blessed countries in the world. And not just in terms of money, I mean in terms of resources, in terms of land, in terms of people, particularly, in terms of the potential that we carry. Nigeria is incredibly blessed, right? What we simply need to do is move from potential to promise, move from potential to value, move from potential to action. And that is how we translate all these things that we say with our mouth. We have this, we have that. We translate that to actual wealth. I don't know if you've heard, but Dangote just delivered the first set of um products, to the United States a few days back. You know what that means for Africa? That is huge. In fact, that has a huge effect, a positive effect on any entrepreneur that's in the food business, that's in the food business, that's in the export business. Why? Because a Nigerian man has done that, has pushed that boundary, has been able to produce something that the entire United States of America can say, oh, Mr. Dangote, we want to buy your products. Do you know what that means for you? It simply means greater trust. It means that the world is opening up gradually for Nigerians. And it means that as long as you can package, when I saw the news, what I said was this, I said, sell something that people want. Sell something. Don't just sell anything. Sell something that people want. If you can sell what people want, trust me, you will never lack. Because see, God made man, and man can, in fact, before I even say that, who made men? Who made horse men, man and woman? Who made us? If you can just drop it in the chat. I know it's a very simple question, but I want this to be very engaging as possible. So who created man? Who created men and women? Who? I want to see our charts. Let me see the charts. Great, great. So God created man. Good. Now, another question, a quick one as well. God Almighty. Yeah, I love that. So God created man, right? Now, is there any man, of course, that is part of God's creation that can actually stop God from doing anything that God wants to do? Let me give an example. So wherever you are right now, any country you are, whether it has rained in that country before or it has never rained, if God wants it to rain right now, can man stop God? The answer is no, right? So there's a principle in that actually, and here's the principle. Anything that you create as a man has no power to stop you. I'll say that again. Anything that you create as a man has no power to stop you. And that's the principle. So God created man, and man cannot stop God. Now, let me continue. Now, so man also who created money? Let me ask again, who created money? Please drop it in the chat as well. Who created money? So God created man, and man cannot stop God. Now, who created money? Man created money, God. So, brilliant. So God created man. Follow me, follow me. God created man. And because God was the one that is the one that created man, man cannot stop God. Now, man created money. So should money stop man? If man cannot stop God because God created man, then should money stop man that man actually created? No. So God created man, and man cannot stop God. Man created money. So money has no business stopping you. So how do you then solve that? See, never ever blame your failure on lack of money. If money is what you need to make your business come to life, the solution is very simple. Never blame your failure on lack of money. If money is what you need to make your business thrive, then all you have to do is offer a product. Don't just offer any product. Offer a product that people need. The problem is at times you offer products that people are not looking for. Offer a product that people need. And guess what? They will be super, super glad to pay you. And the same thing goes with looking for fund. When you're looking for funding, you don't go to people and say, I want funds. Nobody really cares about that. For every organization that you're going to meet to get fund from, they have their objectives, they have their goals, they have their quotas, they have certain things that matter to them. So what you need to do is go and look for the things that matter to them. Why are they disbursing funds? What are the parameters for which they would select those they would disburse their funds to? And how can you position yourself to not only meet but surpass those parameters? That's as simple as that. So now let's get into it. So the first, guys, in terms of where do you find money, when it comes to finance, when it comes to export financing, there are actually doors. Most people don't know it. And that's why many people stay stuck. Number one, you have the Nexim Bank. And I've also had it. That's why I've left this slide, to stay. You have the Nexim Bank, right? And the Nexim Bank actually has programs they call the Export Development Fund. Now, they have the pre and the post shipment financing. So, how do you access this fund? Number one, there's a process, right? The process is you register with NEPC and of course you get your export license. That's usually the first process. Nobody will give you funding if you don't have your license. Why? Because they are not funding stories. They are essentially funding possibilities, right? They are funding you to take their money, go and do something, make money and pay back. Good. So you have to register with the NEPC. That's the first step. Second step is you have to open an account with a commercial bank, right? Of course, a corporate account with your business name. And third, you apply through your bank with a pro forma invoice, your export contracts, and your NEPC certificates. And then lastly, once you have satisfied all the conditions, the next thing will simply disburse through your bank. They will not give you the money physically, they will pay you through your bank. So that way your bank is also a part to this particular deal. Does that make sense? Let me take it again. So the first platform where you can get funding is Nexim Bank, right? And they have a program called the Export Development Fund. They have for both pre and post shipment financing. And all you have to do is go through their process. Number one, register your business with NEPC, so that you have your export license. Number two, open an account with a commercial bank. Any of the commercial banks in Nigeria will do. And number three, apply through your bank with a pro forma invoice and export contracts and your NEPC certificates, right? Once you've fulfilled those conditions, of course, you also want to ensure that your business plan that goes with the application makes a lot of sense. Like I said earlier, use storytelling as well. Storytelling is very powerful. Human beings are first creatures of emotions before we are creatures of logic, right? Very, very important. So once you do that and they assess your details, they will then disburse through your bank. Once you have the money in the bank, then you can process your export business. And then when you make money, you scale. And at some point, as you continue to scale gradually, it will get to a point where you don't even need the bank anymore because you now have enough liquidity to do what? To progress. The second platform to get funding is the Bank of Industry, right? So here their website is boi.ng. You can go there as well. For Nexim, the website is neximbank.com.ng. Now for BOI, they've also got a program called the Export Development Facility, right? And the process is in three phases. You apply for this one, you apply on BOI's website. That's BOI. They have a portal on their website. If you go there, you apply. But I know that they do these things seasonally. So for the seasonal part, you have to go to their website and search for that yourself, right? But when you get to the BOI portal, you simply submit your business plan. They also want to see your audited account and they want to see your NEPC certificate. Now, once you have all of that submitted on their platform, BOI will fund, BOI basically funds working capital. They can fund your machinery as well if you can show them proof that, okay, this is sustainable. And they also fund export preparation. Good. So that's the second part. The third one is the Afrexim Bank. Now, for Afrexim Bank, they provide trade finance, they provide guarantees, and they also provide currency hedging, right? So currency hedging simply means, okay, you want to hedge against the naira falling and all of those things. Now, what's the process on that Afrexim Bank? You can access this funding via your Nigerian banks. There are certain Nigerian banks that are already Afrexim partners. So what you need to do is go to Afrexim websites and check which banks are their partners. That's the one. Or you can go to their websites, check the emails or the contacts and send them an email so that they can send you all the details, right? So, but essentially, there are banks that are in partnership with Afrexim Bank. So all you've got to do is um, watch when they have their next call. Like I said again, some of them do their calls maybe once in 6 months. some of them once in a year, some of them 3 times a year. So it depends. So you need to check when their next call would be. So once they are calling for the next batch of applications, you simply apply, and then you can take it from there. So you ask your bank about, if you currently bank with any of the Nigerian banks, you can also ask them that, okay, are you an Afrexim Bank partner, for trade finance line? That's what you ask them. So Afrexim Bank trade finance line. So there are certain banks that are in partnership with them, and they will tell you the process. Once they tell you the process, all you've got to do is put your plans together and then go for it. The fourth one are grants. Now, grants can be very sweet, but they can also be very demanding when it comes to applications because you have to apply for them. Um, so for grants, examples include the USAID Trade Hub Nigeria, and the process also is very straightforward. First is you have to watch out for when they have calls for proposals, right? It's usually called RFPs, requests for proposals. When they have those requests for proposals, all you have to do is apply online with your proposal and your business profile. And that's why, see, you have to, as entrepreneurs, you have to live ready for opportunities. It's not when an opportunity comes that it starts scampering around. You should always have your stories, your business plans, your application guide. For instance, every entrepreneur here, every entrepreneur here should have what I call your online profile. When I say online profile, I mean when people search for your business online, what do they see? It's very, very important that whatever they are seeing is something that is world class. The way I like to think about it is I don't like to put my name on anything that if you search for online, you will not find something that is excellent about it. It's very, very important. You have to represent yourself as an excellent entrepreneur. So if someone searches for your name, for instance, today, what would they find? Would they find a LinkedIn profile that does not have your pictures, that does not have your image, or would they find a website that makes them feel like we have to do business with this person? See, when it comes to dealing in business, when it comes to doing business, people look at how you position yourself before they do business with you. And a lot of times, we Nigerians can like to be a bit emotional and say, oh, God looks at the heart. And I say, yes, the only person that looks at the heart before he deals with you is God. God looks at the heart. But guess where men look? Men judge you by what they see. So if you want to go far in life, far in business, you must understand that while you are here on earth, you have to play by the rules. What are the rules? People judge, treat, and do business with you based on how they perceive you, right? And that begins with the first search about your name and your business. So you want to position yourself correctly. So if you're applying for grant as well, the same thing applies. Number one, leverage storytelling. What is storytelling? Storytelling is getting people to buy into you through emotions, through words, through the power of your journey, putting words together in a way that takes people on a journey about where you've been, what you've done, and what you can do in future. Good. So those grants are there. Apply for them. Watch calls for proposal, like I said. Apply online with your proposal and your business plan. But the key point here is always be application ready, right? Application ready. I think it was 2 years ago or thereabout that one of my companies won $100,000 from UNICEF. When that application came, we were just ready. We happened to be ready. Of course, there's a huge part that God's grace always plays. Always, 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 And then when you have God's grace, you have to back that with work, because faith without work is dead. All right. So the next one is a trade credit. So for credits here, you have foreign buyers and suppliers finance your shipment first. That's how it happens. And what's the process? Of course, in this particular area, you have to build trust through smaller trades. So what that simply means is that if you've done business with people over time consistently, they've trusted, and again, that takes me back to being excellent. and being having integrity. If you've done business with them consistently, right? You can get to a point where you begin to trade on credit, right? This is where you are selling your what? You are selling your integrity. And trust me, integrity can make you billions when you have it done right. All right. So you build trust through smaller trades, and then because of that, you sign contracts with deferred payments. They can say, okay, you pay us in 90 days, or you pay us when we've sold and stuff like that, and vice versa, rather. For that one, all you have to do is use a letter of credit to secure both sides. It's very, very important. When you're in this business, I'm sure most of us know, you have to deal with papers, meaning that everything you do has to be documented. Very, very important. That is, I mean, I'm sure you must have heard about people, being taken to court, lawsuits, and all of those things. The one way to guide yourself, to guard yourself, and to ensure that you are protected is by doing things by the book. All right. And then the sixth platform for getting funding for export businesses is through impact investors. Now, there are impact investors, a couple of them. I know there's Acumen, that is Acumen, so you can Google them. There's Acumen, there's Root Capital, and there are also local VCs in agri-export SMEs. All you have to do is do some research also by yourself so you can get more names. But the two names that really come to mind is number one, Acumen, that's Acumen, and then Root Capital, right? There are a lot more people like that who are interested, who are impact investors that want to invest in agri-business, agri-export business particularly, right? And what's the process here? Of course, as always, you have to prepare your pitch deck. Um, if you've been doing this business for a while, you also have to prepare. When it comes to impact investing, integrity is the number one seller, right? So you have to prepare your audited account statements. Very important. Your pitch deck and your audited account. What's your pitch deck? It's like your business plan, but in a very concise way, and then your audited account statements. Why? Because they want to see your track record. Um, if you have been dealing with business and dealing right over time. Once they see that, that builds confidence in them to say, okay, we can invest in Kanayo, or we can invest in Alili, we can invest in Peter. Why? Because he has shown over time with his account, with his books, with his audited statements that it can be trusted, right? So very, very important. So once you do that, then you apply directly via their website as well. They invest equity or debt in dollars, right? And then the seventh branch really is the Development Bank of Nigeria. It's called the DBN for short, and I also have their website on the screen. Now, how does this work? These guys offer wholesale funding to SMEs via commercial banks. So they offer wholesale funding to SMEs via commercial banks. And what's the process? First, there are just two processes here. Number one, you apply through your bank for DBN SME export loans. And again, you have to ask your bank if they are affiliated or in partnership with them, or go to DBN's website directly to see if they have a list of banks. And then from there, you can take it from there. So apply through your bank for DBN SMEs export loans. And then secondly, you choose the tenor that you want, from what I understand, longer tenors actually usually have um, lower interests than normal banks, right? So if you go to normal banks to say you want to borrow money, the interest rates will be usually high. But if you go through the DBN, the Development Bank of Nigeria, their interest rates are usually low and they give you a long tenor. So that way, you are not under duress, because essentially you know that export business takes time, so you can't rush how the how you can't rush how many days or how many hours you're good to spend in on the sea. It has to take a particular time that is set, before it gets to its destination. All right. And then lastly, you have the export credit agencies, right? So examples are we have in the UK here, for instance, we have the UK Export Finance, that's the UKEF. You also have the US Exim. Now, these agencies provide credit guarantees and insurance to exporters. Um, Also, Nigerians exporting to those countries can benefit if their buyers apply. So if you are, for instance, if you are supplying a buyer in the UK, maybe you have a retailer in the UK that also buy goods from you, they can actually apply, and then with that way you guys can do business under that particular arrangement. So all of these 8 doors are open. The key is you have to have the knowledge. Now, today, now you've been given the knowledge, and then after the knowledge, you also have to do what? Structure your business properly to position yourself for these opportunities. And then lastly, you have to take action. So because even a small SME with a registered company and NEPC certificates and buyer contracts can access them. So let nothing stop you from today. Why? Because you have the knowledge, but essentially you have to add action to knowledge. So all of these platforms, for instance, I would list them down and I will start acting on each of them from tomorrow. Because for you, number one might not even work. It might be number two that will work. For somebody else, it might be number seven that will work. But again, all you have to do is ensure that you put each of these opportunities into practice. Go for them, apply for them, ask your bank, and take action. Because it is not what we hear that counts. It is what we do with what we hear that counts ultimately. All right. Now, I haven't gotten funding. Is that the end of the journey? Yeah, absolutely no. So once you've gotten funded, you have funding now. You can fund what you want to do. You can fund your exports business. We then move to the risks that are attached to this business. Because if we are being sincere with ourselves, exports business is one of the most profitable businesses you can do today. It's extremely profitable. Why? Because I mean, the last time I bought what did I buy now? Last time I bought ewedu, ewedu is in the supermarket. I just smiled because of the amount of pounds. One little ewedu, I think it was about 10 pounds, right? So, although it was already caught, it was frozen ewedu, about 10 pounds. You know how much 10 pounds is? 10 pounds is like over 20,000 naira. So if I were in Nigeria, I'll probably buy that ewedu for 1,000 naira. That's like about 9 times the price, right? That's how powerful export business is. So exporting is good, it looks sweet, but it also has its own risks, right? If you're not very careful, your entire profit can go up into thin air. And that's why it's very important to plan before we set out. Good. Some of these risks include shipping delays. So for instance, okay, so you struck a deal with a particular buyer in the UK that, oh, we're bringing this good for you. Um, okay, we're bringing this good for you. We are doing this and all of that. And then you've agreed, and then you start shipping from Apapa, and all of a sudden there are shipping delays, even after you've signed all the papers, you are not completely in control of when the good actually reaches the final destination. And that is very, very, very important. So how do you mitigate these things? There are ways to mitigate them. The second risk really is policy changes. So for instance, a couple of months back, the UK suddenly woke up and declared that, okay, they are going to have, moving forward, it's going to be free tariff for over 3,000 products from Nigeria. And that was a fun. And of course, exporters started having a field day, even though I believe it took a while for that particular policy to start taking effect. But essentially, it's a policy that favors food exporters from Nigeria, right? There's also currency swing, you've agreed on a particular price and then you move goods. That was one of the things that happened to Otedola because it's one of the books I'm currently reading. And I read about how he ordered for he ordered for fuel, and the fuel was already on the sea, and all of a sudden the price crashed from a huge crash, really. I think from about 200 and something dollars to 30 something dollars. And these were millions of barrels. And that's how he went bankrupt during that period. So currency swing can actually have a major adverse effect. But again, there are ways to mitigate these things. The next thing is buyer default. So for instance, you've made an agreement with a buyer that, okay, you're supplying them this number, these tons of cashew, and all of a sudden the buyer says, oh, sorry, I got my deal. I already got my goods from somewhere else, or sorry, I'm not able to purchase anymore, right? There's also delayed payment, so these are risks that are attached to this particular business. And if we also may say so, there are actually no businesses without risks. Every business comes with its own special, unique risk. So, as an entrepreneur and as a change maker, what we need to focus on is not being scared about the risks, but planning strategically on how we're going to mitigate the risk. Because why? Um, the opportunities around any business, right, pays you as an entrepreneur simply because you solve problems. So this is one of the problems that you solve, right? So how do you protect your money? Number one, there's letter of credit, which I'm sure some of us should be very, very conversant with. So letter of credit simply has to do with a letter that protects you from a lot of those issues. So, for instance, um, a bank can guarantee you that okay, you will get paid once you ship and present your documents. It's safer and it makes for peace when you are doing your export business, So letters of credit are the first way to actually demystify these risks, right? So a bank simply guarantees that you get paid once you ship and present your documents. So it's safer than trusting a buyer who can change their words later, right? The second part is export credit insurance, right? So if your buyer default, for instance, the insurance pays you, and then of course, I know that Nexim is one of the guys that provide this. So export credit insurance. It means if your buyer defaults, the insurance company like Nexim actually pays you, so you are losing absolutely nothing. The third is forward contracts, right? What does that mean? It simply means that you are able to lock today's dollar rate. So for instance, if today's dollar rate is 1,500 naira per dollar, you're able to lock it for future payments. So that way, devaluation will not eat your profits. And then the fourth one is factoring and receivables finance. This is where banks pay you upfront against your export invoice, and you don't have to wait for months. All of these things are very possible. They are not only available to big companies, they are also possible for SMEs. SMEs can use them, and I think that you must use them if you want to grow big as well. And that takes us to buyer default. So how do you avoid buyer default? There are too many SMEs rushing into contracts with strangers abroad these days. I was still speaking with someone, was it 2 days ago, who is in a similar situation. Too many SMEs rushing into contracts with strangers. And of course, because of the nature of this business, you really can't say no to many opportunities, especially when you find a potential buyer, right? And that's why buyers, in business, at times we like to say, the customer is the king, right? And at times that can also be very costly, right? So before you ship, the first thing here is you verify the buyer. You check the ITC, the trade map, you check the request verification, verify them as much as possible. And the verification is not just about document. In today's world, you have the online platforms, you have Google, you have most of platforms where you can actually verify stuff. So you want to verify that who you are doing business with is who they say they are, right? Request verification from their Chamber of Commerce if that is possible as well. If it's a company in the UK, for instance, you can search the company house information. There's a way you can check that every company registered in the UK, you actually have their information online. All you have to do is go to company house and search for their name. It will bring out their company name and their details. And when you click on that particular link as well, you will find the names of the directors of that company. That's how it works in the UK. So that way you know that okay, Mr. Victor is truly the CEO of Victor African Foods that they claim to be. The second thing is you need to use contracts and LCs. So this is very, very important. Contracts are like documents that bind you both sign that, okay, I have agreed that this person should deliver this good for me. So that way nobody can exit that deal except otherwise stated. The third one is to secure your past payment upfront. This is very, very important. You know, even 30% is better than nothing upfront. Why? Because they have committed themselves, as opposed to you bringing your product in and then the person saying, "Oh, I'm not buying product. I'm not buying product anymore." So it's very important to secure part payment upfront before you land the goods. The next thing is to ensure the deal. Again, Nexim offers this. The export credit insurance covers you if the buyer defaults. And that's why these things are very, very important. This is essentially how billionaires play. They never export without protection. I think it was recently that I heard a story about Dangote, how there was a recent worker strike in his company, and the workers did not work for a few days basically. They didn't work. And guess what? After that incident was sorted, a company came and paid Dangote for those days that the workers did not work. And when I found out, I realized that it was actually a form of insurance. So Dangote was insured to the extent that if anything happens and the employees do not work for a particular period of time, the company is insured and they'll get paid for that period. So that's the power of insurance. I know in Nigeria, insurance is still very, very nascent. It's very young, but actually a very powerful way to protect your business. All right. So there's also like then currency protection. How do you protect your currency? So let me paint a picture. So imagine that you agreed $100,000 at 1,000 um 200 naira per dollar, right? And you lock in a deal, $100,000 deal, and the exchange rate at that time is $1,200, 1,200 naira per dollar, right? So it means you are expecting a $120,000, 120 million naira, right? By the time payment lands, it's 1,500 per dollar. Your naira equivalent has suddenly changed by tens of millions, right? That is what that simply means without currency protection. So don't let that be you and don't let this catch you. So how do you do that? Always price in USD or euros, never naira. Why? Because if you price in naira, once the price swings or the price changes, and these things are it can happen in 24 hours, at times less than that. So once that happens, you can lose your entire business. So always price in USD or euro, never in naira. That's number one. Number two is to ask your bank for a forward contract, so that you can lock the rates. Every bank understands this and they can do that for you. Number three is to keep a domiciliary account so you hold your dollars directly. Very, very important. You should not even be in the export business if you don't have a proper corporate domiciliary account. And then lastly, store excess in hard assets, things like land, like stocks, like gold to beat inflation. Inflation is a wicked thief. And the way it happens, you won't see it, it just erodes your money. So this is how exporters protect wealth in volatile economies. And we also have to start doing that in Nigeria. Now, let's move to for those who are just starting out, how do you start exporting? I've made a couple of posts on this on my platform, particularly on Instagram. I do a lot of this on that platform, and a lot of people benefit from it. So, you might want to check. If you're not currently following me, it's the Isaac Ola at on Instagram, in fact across all platforms. So I've done at least, I know we've done about 2 or 3 posts on exporting, right? But this is just an abridged version, 6-step playbook to start exporting. Of course, the first step is you have to register with the NEPC because you need a license, and without them you can't get a license. And then, of course, once you've done that, pick at least 1 to 2 high demand products. One of the mistakes I see people make is when they want to start exporting, they want to start with 5 products at a go. It doesn't work that way. If you study any wealthy person in any business, they usually start with one line of business. Once they succeed with that, then they add another layer to it, another layer to it, and that's how things progress. So pick 1 or 2 high demand products and then begin with that. Then the third The third one is find buyers. You need to find buyers for your products, right? There are many platforms where you can find buyers. There's Alibaba, there's Diaspora. That in terms of Diaspora, you want to talk to people who are already in the retail space here. In terms of, okay, what kind of product are you looking for? How do you reach them? There's Instagram, there is Facebook, there is Twitter. All you've got to do is Google cashew seller in London, cashew seller in Birmingham, and then they'll pop up. Reach out to them, send them a DM. But again, like I said, your brand has to be rock solid. Of course, if you want people to deal with you, you cannot say hi, hi to a brand, a top retail brand in London, and you expect them to respond to you when what they see on your page is just you showing your face in a very funny way, right? So you have to brand your page excellently. Then, of course, fourth, secure financing. We've covered that already, so you know what to do. And then protect with LCs and insurance. Once you've done all these parts, of course, you can then start shipping, delivering, and getting paid in dollars. This is a start stats that came out yesterday for Q2 2025 in terms of the top exported products from Nigeria. Cashew, in terms of this platform, cashew is one of the top exported products from Nigeria as we speak. What does that say? Like I said earlier, of course, I showed the market potentials as well. And what that simply means is cashew is a huge $1 billion um, um, products, right? So if you're in this space, what does that mean? It means that you are actually in a very, very wealthy spot, a very, very wealthy place, a very, very wealthy space. And all you have to do is apply yourself, So beyond cashew, what are the other things that are possible and start making them happen? Now, finally, whether we like it or not, Nigeria is an incredibly blessed place. No matter our current situation right now, Nigeria is blessed. All right. So what we need to do is we need to move from potential to possibilities. And how do we do that? Because right now, um, um, every single thing that we grow in Nigeria are in top demand across the world. Every single thing that we grow, And let me encourage you, Nigerians are already doing this as well. I know Nigerians in the UK who are in fact, the person that taught me driving in the UK is a Nigerian guy. The guy currently, as we speak, is expanding. This guy didn't go to school. Fantastic, amazing guy, very smart guy, and is I think he's in his early 40s or thereabouts. So how did he start? He started in the UK. He started with driving. He was driving trucks, and he saved money and used those money, his savings, to start a small store, an African store. And then from there, he started importing from Nigeria, importing different goods. Today, as we speak, friends, this man has a network of retail stores across the UK. And this is somebody that did not go to the normal traditional school, right? Because at times, one of our biggest disadvantages can be our certificates. So yeah, because I have a degree, I have a PhD, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. That guy is in cool cash. The driving. So after he drove trucks, he then started buying cars, and he was teaching people. He would teach Nigerians. Most immigrants when they get here, they need to learn how to drive. So that was what he was doing. When he was teaching me, he was just doing it for fun because he had now has people working for him in his stores, and he would just take that drive for extra. And it was then telling me that he wanted to open more stores, he was giving more space. The guy is expanding huge, big time, right? At times he will go to Nigeria to bring those goods. At times he will bring them in through some companies. So the market is there, and it's a huge market. It's a huge market. You know, Kaduna ginger now sells across the UK. If it is cashew, it sells across the UK. Hibiscus sells, hibiscus from Kano, it sells. It goes into even Mexico markets, Mexico, German markets. They buy these things. Cashew from Kogi ships directly to Vietnam, to India, right? So these are not even Dangote kind of products. But these are multi-billion-dollar products as well when we do them right and we scale them right gradually. They are SMEs who are structured right, and they are accessing finance built on trust. Because again, you cannot build anything sustainable without trust, without integrity. So some of them were local farmers, and today they are built huge. Why? Because they started small, And now they are in dollars because of integrity, because of consistency, and because of excellence. So while there's billions there, exporting is definitely not magic, right? However, if you play your cards right and you do the right things, there's incredible potential in this space for you. And you don't wake up to you, of course, I'm not saying you wake up to $10 million contracts, right? But you have to start small. As you start small and as you scale gradually with excellence, even 5 million naira worth of ginger, you can start with that. Even 500,000 worth of ginger, you can start with that. And over time, you can scale into millions and even much more. And as you build track record, you can then move into 50 million naira, $1 million, sesame contract and all those things. So the possibilities are unlimited. There is no stopping you if you can play your cards right and do the right thing, right? So essentially nothing great started great. Every big thing started small. Dangote did not start massively, right? There's nobody really. Even Bill Gates, Microsoft was not as big as this when they started, right? So we all have to start from somewhere. And when we start from somewhere, that is the least that we would then ever be if we do the right things, right? So personally, I admire everyone here and I really look forward to seeing us go big. Nigeria is rich, no doubt. The world is waiting for us, right? So instead of staying back and saying I don't have capital, I always tell people the only limit you have as a human being is the limit you have placed on yourself, right? God will never allow you to be in a position where you don't have the resource to take you to the next level. It can never happen. So the fact that you think that you don't have what you need to get your next level is simply proof that you have not sat down to think enough. If you sit down to think enough, there's always something around you that will take you to that next level. And once you find it and you use it, you will realize that you are literally unstoppable. Thank you very much. It has been a nice time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. It has been quite an impactful class, packed with so much knowledge. I think everybody has to go back to listen to this at least 3 times because they say repetition is the key to learning. So there are a lot of things. I don't even need to start asking. I'm already seeing a lot of persons dropping in their clapping emojis that I believe it means that they have gained a lot. I don't even need to say so much again. Thank you so much for your time. So we'll take a couple of questions. So if you have a question, you can use the raise hand feature on Zoom to ask your question, or you can drop it in the chat box and my colleagues will pick it up and would ask Mr. Isaac. Would only be taking about 3 questions, please. So like gone be past beyond time. And then there would be the recordings would be, this is currently streamed live, and then the recordings would be, it would be there, and maybe Mr. Isaac would have to ask Mr. Isaac to do us the honor of sharing his slide with us so we can share it with
Yeah, the slide we made available. I'm also sharing for those that are asking for contacts. I will share my Instagram account here as well now, the link.
Great, thank you so much. So I can see Dio and Jude, and then I think Zinkeg. That's 3 questions would be taken, and I think that will be all. So hi Dio, kindly go ahead with your question, please.
All right. Well, good afternoon from here. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Isaac, for the insightful presentation. So I want you to speak a little on quality and compliance. Sometimes one of the issues Nigerian product has is the issue of adhering to the specifications of companies abroad or buyers abroad. So how do we play in that space very well and get great value so that we are not just exporting raw materials and we are losing money? Thank you.
So when you say quality and compliance, can you be a bit more specific? What kind of product are you looking to export? And what do you mean by quality and compliance so I can deal with it um concisely as good as possible? Can you hear me? Hello, are you there? Oh, maybe I'm not. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So maybe he would have to drop it in the chat, or maybe his network kicked him out. So we'll just go to the next person. Jude, kindly ask your question, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Isaac, and good afternoon, Africa.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thanks a lot for this loaded information you gave us this afternoon. My questions are two.
Yeah.
Number one, you mentioned a lot about structuring your business.
Yeah.
I'd like you to tell us a bit about that, how to go about what exactly you mean by that. Number two, you said that about one of the challenges, startups. I have not done export before. I'm trying to do one. I've had occasion of going to Nexim, and they directed me, like you said, to my bank. And one of the things, Nexim, one of the conditions they wanted me to produce was a track record of what export I have done. And I'm saying, look, I'm new. But they're insisting that I have to show that I have done export once, twice, three times. You understand?
Yeah.
So how can a startup deal with this kind of challenge?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very powerful question. Really, really powerful question that I'm sure many people here will benefit from. So I'm gonna start with the first question you asked, which has to do with registering your business properly. And of course, structuring your business properly. You said, how do you structure your business and properly? So I think that my answer will be basically in 5 steps. How do you structure your business? Structuring your business simply means arranging your business in a legal, financial, and optional way that makes it very credible, very fundable, and very scalable. I'll say that again. Structuring your business is about arranging your business legally, financially, and operationally in a way that makes it credible, fundable, and scalable. Why? Because there is a way to structure a business. That business is working, but that business is not fundable. Why? Because of the finances. There's also a way to structure a business in such a way that it becomes super attractive to investors. Why? Because of how it has been structured. So now, how do you do this? Number one, you want to register your business properly. So is your business registered with the CAC? Of course, we know that that's the basic non-negotiable start point for any business in Nigeria. Register as a limited liability company. It shows seriousness and separate your personal money from business money. And why? Banks, investors, and international buyers, they trust companies, they don't trust individuals. So go to CAC, I think the website is cac.gov. Just search for Corporate Affairs Commission and start or use a CAC accredited agent. That's one, register your business properly. Number two is get the right licenses. So for instance, in this particular business, the NEPC is the OGA, right? So the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, that certificate that they give you is mandatory for exporters. Then once you have that, you also want to get your TIN. That's your tax identification number. You know, sectors sectors licenses are very important. So for instance, if you are aside from your NEPC, if what you're selling is food, for instance, and you're producing that food by yourself, you need to get a NAFDAC certification or license, right? Depending on the kind of thing you sell. If it's other products, you need to get an SON license. This simply proves that you are compliant and export ready. So I mentioned two things now. The third one is separate your business finances. Well, how do you do that? Open a corporate bank account in your company's name, get a domiciliary account. It doesn't cost anything. So once you have a corporate bank account already, all you have to do is go to your bank and tell them you want to open a domiciliary account. What does domiciliary account mean? It simply means an account that can take US dollars, euro, and GBP. That's Great Britain pounds. So that way you're able to receive export payments directly into your account. and then keep proper financial records, things like invoices, receipts, audited accounts, So even simple accounting tools like Zoho and the likes can help you look professional. And then lastly, build a paper trail. So most of your evidence, your contract, your invoices, build them, your corporate governance, right? For instance, if you have people that are like your mentors, you can approach them and say, oh, can you be like an advisory to my company? Set it up, do a page on your website for them for your advisory board. It doesn't have to be much. It can be 3 people, it can be 2 people, it can be 4 people. They should not even be many. The lesser they are, the better, right? And then finally show capacity to deliver, right? Have access to raw materials, secure packaging partners who meet export standards, know your logistic options, freight forwarders, ship agents, and all of those things, and then protect your business as you grow. I know that might not be possible for startups, but as you start making money, ensure your shipments through Nexim, trademark your brand, register with your industry associations like cocoa export associations and all those things. The more you do these things, the more confident you will be about what you're doing, the more opportunities you will attract, and the faster you will grow. All right, I hope that answers your question. So the next question, the next question you ask is about compliance. Okay, I think someone asked about compliance. So let me quickly cover that. So now, when it comes to compliance, how do you I think it was about quality and compliance, right? So when it comes to quality and compliance, the first is understand what your market wants. So quality is not what you think is good, for instance. Quality is what the buyer and that country requires. So for food and agro product, for instance, you want to check the standards of the FDA in the US. If it's the US now, it's the FDA. If it's in Europe, I think it's the um EFSA, and if it's in the UK, there's UK Food Standards Agency, right? And for non-food products, you want to check the ISO standard for the buyer specification, right? So quality essentially is about what your markets and your buyer wants. Once you find out those things, get certification and approval for them. The truth is, see, all these things, some of them might cost you a bit, but guess what? They are investments. Because once you have that certification, it simply means that you have become part of the few who can do that particular business in your country. And then the more business you then do over time, you realize that money just begins to pour in like water, right? And then test your product regularly. Export is science, it's not guesswork. Use certified labs in Nigeria if you sell products. Test for moisture, test for pesticide, residue, toxins, all those things, and invest in packaging and labeling, quality packaging. You know, Compliance often fails here. Use export grade packaging, juice bags, vacuum packs, food safe cartons. Label clearly your product's name, country of origin, the weight, the batch, expiry dates, all those things matter. So that is basically how you represent yourself and position yourself as a leader over time in that space. I hope I answered your question. The first guy, that question was for the first guy. I think that's it, rather, for that question.
Thank you so much. We're short of time, so Mr. Isaac has dropped his contact details. You can follow him. You can send him your questions, and I'm certain he would do well to answer. So thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for your time. We're really grateful. There's so much learning that has gone on, and thank you for your contacts. I think a lot of people will be coming to your DM and for the presentation you'd be sharing with us after today's session.
Yeah.
So just like we normally do, before we let you go, we usually love taking screenshots, pictures of. Yeah, so I would ask everyone to turn on their cameras, put on their best smile. And I think for people in my generation, I would say we'll do a chakam. I'm going to take pictures. So put on your best smile. Like I can see Zinkek his video has been on since. So let's have more persons turn on their cameras. So if you are going to Mr. Isaac's DM, this is your evidence. If you're posting of your learnings from today's session and you're tagging him, use the screenshot. So thank you so much. I'm seeing Dorothy, Chidima, Abdurrahman, Marie, Adiola, Aisha too. Thank you. I can see your wave, Aisha too. So so let's, in the count of 1, 2, your smile should be wider than mine. It should be better than mine. So in the count of 1, 2, 3, let's give our best smile, everybody. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for your time. We look forward to having you come back again. I can see that the time was quite short, but then if despite the time, you were able to dish out a lot for our participants for today's session. So we look forward to having you join us for another session. Another session maybe with our membership community, or maybe the scaling the open expert series. Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
We're moving on. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We're moving on to the next. Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next segment of today, and that's our membership drive. When Gloria Praise was speaking, she spoke about the many programs we have here at AFC, and then one of them is being able to join a community of like-minded people. And I'll be calling on my colleague from the membership department to take us on the membership drive. Hello, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Anna. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you. So, thank you a lot to our speaker as well, and for our audience in today's session. Before I start, I would like to know who my audience are. So, if you're part of the community already, please kindly indicate in the chat box that you are a change maker. And for those who are yet to become part of the AFC community, this is the time for you to join the moving train, because at AFC, our core value is to help entrepreneurs in Africa to grow. Like my colleague Gloria Praise already emphasized, that we have members across 49 African countries and over 8,000 members. So what we do at African Food Chain Makers is to help these members strengthen and scale their agribusinesses. We do this by providing opportunities for them, opportunities from resources which we share on our website, to implementing programs for our members, and also to help in creating that visibility for our community members. So we refer our members to funding opportunities, to speaking opportunities, and to exhibition opportunities. Also, within our membership community, we have bi-weekly experience sharing sessions where entrepreneurs come together to informally dialogue with each other, to share experiences, to share opportunities, and even to share challenges that they can brainstorm together and find solutions. We have our marketplace where entrepreneurs can also exhibit their products on our marketplace. What you need to do is to log into your membership dashboard and upload your product or your services, such that anyone who visits our website can get access to your products, and that visibility is created for you, and we can further engage with you as well. And others are opportunities that we give to our members, such as visibility on our social media handles. We have our communications team that helps to create that visibility for our members. We also, on 1 or 2 occasions, spotlight our members. I give them exclusive access to networking events and to high-level stakeholder meetings as well. So I've spoken a lot about what we give to our community members. Next slide, we talk about how non-members on the call can be part of this community. So if you're on this call and you're not a part of the community, all you need to do is just to follow the website www.afcorg and navigate to the join the community icon, or simply follow the link that have been dropped in the chat box to take you directly to the membership landing page, where you'll be asked some questions about your business or your personal information. And it is of great importance that whatever information you fill or you submit should be accurate and precise, as this will guide the team to navigate on kind of resources to share with you that fit the agribusiness you are looking for. Then, once you've done that, don't forget to click on the submit button. This will automatically give us the notification that someone has tried to sign in, and we can follow up from there to check if the credentials you imputed are correct and accurate. Once we verify that from our end, you will receive a confirmation email. and verification takes at least 48 hours for you to become verified. Once you've been verified, you get full access to your membership dashboard where you can also navigate through your platform and see what other opportunities that we offer or benefit that we offer to our community members. You can also join the membership groups through your dashboard, the WhatsApp, the Facebook, the Telegram, and the LinkedIn WhatsApp group. And please note that all these are free for our community members. We only request that you meet 3 of our criteria before trying to register to be the part of the community. The first is that you should own an agribusiness or you work as a top management for the agribusiness that is located in Africa. Then this business too should be in existence for at least 6 months prior to when you want to become a member. What it simply means is that it should be a registered business. Then you also need to have a social media presence or a digital footprint, which means that you should have a website, or if you don't have a website, you have a social media that speaks to the activities that you do in the agri-food space. If you meet these 3 criteria, then all you need to do is to visit the website and become part of this community. I think at this point, I would love to see people who are here to join the community start using the link to join. It takes less than 5 minutes to fill the questions, and I'm available in the chat box for further inquiries or questions regarding the membership community. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Nusa. Just like Nusa said, if being part of any of our programs, I just want to emphasize, or having been able to finish maybe the Brace program, the Scale Network program, or LAF does not make you become an automatic member of our community. You have to register to join the membership community, and you gain much more beyond our programs when you actually join our community. So it takes, like Nusa said, it takes less than 2 minutes to sign up, and it is very simple, a very simple process. So if you're not part of AFC community, just minimize your Zoom and click on the link and go straight to our website to join our community. And we look forward to welcoming you and having you join our community. And also, you can also showcase your products for those who have products for their businesses. Thank you so much to everyone who has been part of today's series of the Open Export series. I believe that you have learned a lot. If you have learned something and you're still up to this time on the call, just drop what stood out for you on today's session. We appreciate you for your time. Thank you. I can see Dr. Princess. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And then we look forward to having you join our community of over 8,000 entrepreneurs across Africa, and we'd love to get your feedback. So my colleague on the call would be dropping the survey link for today's session. We'd love to hear from you. How was the session like? What was it impactful? And for those who probably are also on using the translation, how was our translation like for you? So please, can we put up the survey for today, please? Let's have it on the link. Would love to get your input on what stood out for you. How was it like? Just a minute, please. Okay, so I think the survey should be coming up on your screen in a few seconds, but while it is coming up, don't forget to follow AFC on all social media platforms. We're there on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, literally every social media platform you can think of, we are there. Also, subscribe to newsletter so that you can stay up to date with all our activities and up to date with our information, latest program, every the news, the funding opportunities, capacity building that you can benefit from. Also, the survey I can see is already on the screen. Please we love getting your feedback. We appreciate it every time. You can never know how we actually improve from it. So how have you been satisfied with today's session overall? Were you satisfied? Were you not satisfied? Were you very satisfied? Would you rate the speaker to be very knowledgeable on today's topic? And how would you rate the usage of the platform? And would you say that we effectively used time? This is supposed to be a 2-hour session, so I can confidently say we effectively use the time for today, and we are going to be closing right on time. So I can see that we have 19 persons that have filled the survey, and we're 63 currently on the call. I would love to have at least over 50% of us fill it. So I can see we're at 31%. So let's do this. Thank you so much. I can see Chidima saying well done to the team. Thank you so much, Chidima. I can see somebody who has said he has dropped the link. If you have dropped the link, follow us on social media in case you are wrong. So 26 persons. Thank you so much to the 26 persons that have chosen. Thank you so much for filling the survey. We have 28 persons. We're at 45%. Let's take it to 60%. Amazing. Thank you so much to everybody. Today's session has quite been interesting. I can see that. You can go back to watch the live stream so that you can be able to pick out all the other insights you might have missed during this session. Thank you to the 29th person. So it's not a link, Abdulrahman. It is a pop-up on your screen. So you should see that on your screen right now. Thank you, Hadiza. We're 47%. Let's keep the numbers going up. It's just about 5 simple questions, and you don't need to type. You just click, and you are done. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rabilani. Thank you. 29%, 31%. Great. Let's have 5 more persons fill today's survey and would call it a day. Okay. 4 more persons now. 3. I'm doing a countdown. So I need 3 more persons to fill the survey. Thank you, Ade. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charity. Thank you so much. I'm still at 3 more persons. Thank you, Dayo. Thank you, Bukola. 3 more persons and we would call it a day. Isabel, thank you so much. My 3 persons. Aisha too, thank you. We're at 56%. I want us to get to 60 and we'll be done. So I need 3 amazing persons to fill it and we'll be done for today. Thank you, Abraham or Pakpa. I hope I pronounced the name right. Thank you, Eric. I can see all the dons and I'm done. Amazing. So thank you so much to everyone. We promised to keep the time. We have 4 minutes to the end of today's session. Thank you so much to everyone who have filled today's survey. We are grateful. And don't forget to register for the next session of the Open Export series. Just like today's session, the next series promises to even be more insightful and more just come ready to learn and open up your mind to learn and pick up new insight that you can use and add up to the insights you already have or what you're already working on. So until we meet in another segment of maybe Abdurrahman, this is currently being live streamed. So you can currently now just go to our AFC's YouTube channel, subscribe, and you would see all our live series. And then the link to the video would also be shared with you by the team alongside the presentation from Mr. Isaac as soon as we get it. So thank you so much to everyone who has stayed till the end, and particularly to those who took our time to fill the survey. We are very grateful. So till we meet again next time, same still on Zoom. And another segment, it might be we have the Agri Funding series coming up next week for those. That is particularly for our members who want to navigate funding, all the intricacies of funding your businesses. I would advise that you register for the AgriFunding series. We have like a lot of these capacity building sessions. So do well to stay up to date with us, and you will definitely always be notified when we have such events. Till we meet you again next time, same place. I don't know what dates, but hopefully next week. Have an amazing day. Enjoy the rest of your day and your week. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.